My name's Carol Love, and I'm the coach of the Peterborough Rowing Club and Trent University. I rowed for Canada in the women's 8 in the 1976 Olympics. That was the first year that women were in the Olympics.
It's a big year.
For rowing. So and it was the Montreal Olympics, so that was sort of really exciting because we were the hosts for those games. When we were at the Olympics, we narrowly missed a bronze medal, and the Americans beat us out in '76. Narrowly by a deck, and then the next year at the World Championships, we got a bronze medal.
What kind of mental training would you do to get such a high level of performance?
I think, back then I don't think we really talked that much about how we sort of mentally prepared. And so I think you did it by experimentation. Well, success breeds success. You became more confident. You knew if you haven't done the physical training, then it's no sense talking about the mental training at that point. I mean, the mental training, an athlete at the top will say it's 90% mental training, that last little bit, because that's the fine edge in the winner's circle. But you have to have pretty confident that you've done the work first.
So you have to have the discipline, commitment, goals, and the just hard hours in there.
And I think
training.
You're also, along with the physical training, as you're doing it, you're also, you're training your mind. I mean, it goes together every day. I mean, you don't park your brain when you go into your training. It's really, I think, for us, every time that blade goes in the water, you're thinking about the perfect stroke. How can I make this better? I suspect that's the same with skiing. You're always, when you talk about feel in a sport, and I think how you feel on your skis, it's like how you feel on the water. Is it fast? Am I fast? And I think that's the mental side coming in. And
so an image of the perfect.
The image of the perfect and trying to produce it over and over again. Yeah. I think that's when we have, like rowing along with cross-country skiing, miles and miles of time you spend training, and if you didn't have that, it'd be a pretty boring thing to be doing. So you're always, and I think that's the better athlete is always doing that, and it's really always thinking about what's happening.
So if you're visualizing the perfect and aiming for that, but say something happens that's a setback, or a mistake is made, or something isn't quite perfect, how do you recover from that?
Yeah, well, I tell my athletes, you got to throw it out very quickly. I mean, you just got to throw it away. A fall, or for us, a really bad stroke, a boat stopper, it's like you have to immediately get back on. You got to just really throw it out and then get back on. Get the boat up, get the skis up and running, and forget about it. You can't, I mean, it's done. You can't do anything about it. So you just recover and go, and it's not part of what you're thinking about. So I think as an athlete, you've got to do that too. You're going to try a lot of different styles of imagery, and what levels of anxiety or stress, or how to cope with that. And you're going to be trying that, and you're going to find what works. I think it's really important that you hold on to that. And you start to create this, almost as a young athlete, a bank of stuff that works, and you can always sort of draw on that bank. So it's a wealth of knowledge that an older athlete will have, and what works and what didn't work so well, and also what you need from a coach. And I think a coach needs to know what you need on the day of the race. Some need to be brought up a little bit, others need to be just calmed down.
So what are some ways you would suggest to athletes, say if they know they're coming up to a big race but they just don't feel energized enough?
Well, I think often my athletes will use music. You've got to, I think, physically activate the body, so you're warming up the body, so you've got to feel the speed, you've got to sort of bring yourself up physically, and then get the mind going at that same sort of really ready to go.
How about the other direction, say athletes who are so activated that maybe their energy isn't efficient? What are some things that you see athletes doing, or that you suggest to athletes?
Sometimes the one who's really anxious is the one that has some fear. Like, there's a fear of a little bit of if it's performance or it's things that are really beyond your control. So what I say to that athlete, it's it's just what you need to know right now, and so you can't worry about 5 kilometers down the trail and what you're going to end up with. You just, because you can't control that, so you just have to start to really sort of, what do you need to know to stay calm before the race, and so bring everything sort of a little bit down. Sometimes music can do the same thing, but the other thing is, where's that anxiety coming from? And is it performance anxiety? Is it, things that really are beyond your control?
So letting go of things out of your control.
Letting go of that, and sort of trying to, certainly with a crew, I would say, once you're on the water, you're really focusing, and in the warm-up, you're focusing on the task at hand, and that's all you're focusing on. Then we take a moment, we look around at the starting gate of everybody else who's there. It's like everybody's standing at the start of a ski race. They're all there, and you got to sort of saying, okay, I know those guys are really fast. I always sort of say, they're there because they're going to get the best. They're there to force you to get the best out of yourself. And if they weren't there, you'd never push yourself to, that's what the race is all about. They're there because they're going to push you to do your best. Now, how they do is beyond your control, but they're there because, and they're important to you because they're going to push you to do your best. Exactly. Yeah.
That's a great way to frame it. I've heard Peter say that before, that the athletes will sometimes come in and say, wow, they're so tall, or look at how big they are, or look at how ripped they are. Yeah, they're really fast. And then how to just let go of that.
Turn that into a positive. Yeah. I had an athlete last week, and he knew it. He was a single sculler, and the lineup of the scullers, there was really probably some of the top scullers in Canada. You go, it can't get better than this. Look you get to race with these guys. It doesn't get better. They're all here, and now you can test yourself against the best. And so you're trying to turn that sort of negative into the positive. Yeah.
It reminds me of, I don't know if you saw Usain Bolt right before and after his races at the Olympics, right?
Yeah.
And that combination of total focus, but also just pleasure
of
in the
taking
sport.
in the scene, just taking it all in.
Yeah.
That's what makes him great, isn't it?
I think so.
That. It's just, he's not blown away, and he knows this is going to push him to be his best. Yeah.
Exactly.